Hey guys, this is Dr. Izabella Wentz. I am so excited to be here with you. This has been just such a honor and a pleasure to be a part of your healing journey over the last decade now. The year now is 2023. I feel like it was just 2013 when my first book, Hashimoto's The Root Cause, came out. And now I'm sharing, I'm able to share with you a bit more about adrenal health. So if you are dialing in today, if you're new to my work, my name's Izabella Wentz. I am known as the thyroid pharmacist. And really, this is my pleasure to help people with Hashimoto's and adrenal issues take charge of their health. If you can hear me, and if you're on Facebook right now, please go ahead and let me know that you're here. I'm going to be checking in on all of the tech things here to make sure that we are working. Okay, testing. Okay, hello, Mary Ellen. Okie dokie. Hello, Moses. Moses can hear me. Okie dokie, that's great. Okay, Suzanne, hello, Loretta. Thank you guys all so much for joining. I'm Izabella Wentz. I'm your thyroid pharmacist. I have been a pharmacist for quite some time now. Actually, I graduated from pharmacy school in 2006. And one of the things that I'm really, really passionate about is helping to empower people in taking charge of their own health. My passion and my mission in life stems from my own journey, my own diagnosis. During undergraduate studies, I was, unfortunately, I ended up with chronic fatigue syndrome. I didn't know why. I didn't know what was going on with my body, but I was sleeping for 12 plus hours a night. I was missing my exams. I just felt awful all of the time. And this started during my first year in college. As time went on, I kind of learned how to live with this fatigue and learn how to adapt. I made it through pharmacy school, 4 years of pharmacy school, lots of studying, but I slept a lot. And then as time went on during pharmacy school, I ended up with irritable bowel syndrome. Then when I graduated from pharmacy school, I started getting panic attacks and anxiety. As time went on, I ended up with acid reflux, hair loss, carpal tunnel in both arms, and then weight gain, where all of a sudden, I hadn't changed my diet, but my sweatpants just got a lot tighter out of nowhere. This was when I was 20. So I was going to my doctors and talking about the symptoms that I was having, yet I wasn't getting the help that I was hoping for. I was told, well, you're probably just stressed. I mean, it's not wrong, but can you actually tell me anything I can do to feel better? Or I was hearing things like, okay, well, everybody's tired, right? Please let me know if you have heard that before, right? Or I've been hearing things like, oh, you're just getting older. And yeah, I was 25 at the time, right? So people think that brain fog, fatigue, anxiety, sleep issues, we think that they're normal because they're so common in our modern society. But they're not normal. They are very much common, but they're not normal. So I want to share with you my recent book. This is called The Adrenal Transformation Protocol. You can see I have some balloons and set up here. We just had my launch party here in Austin, Texas. And today, this is my virtual book launch party where you guys can ask me some questions. And I'll be doing a bit of a reading about from the Adrenal Transformation Protocol. And I'll be reading the introduction section as well as the advanced protocols. So if you were on Facebook yesterday, I read a little bit about the advanced protocols for sleep issues. I also have advanced protocols for, and you guys, I'm going to count on you to let me know which one you want me to focus on. So I could either focus on brain fog, fatigue today, insomnia or sleep issues, libido, or pain. So if you have any preferences on what you would like for me to cover, please let me know. Let me see who has joined. I am hoping for that the tech systems align today. So every now and then the tech doesn't align, but today we seem to be working. So excellent. I see Helen. Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Daniela. Hello, Donna. Hello, Tammy. Hello, Michelle. Suzanne got the Kindle version of the book yesterday. Melanie said, I'm so tired. Gloria wants to know holy basil for adrenals. I love holy basil. This can be very, very fabulous for adrenals. And it's one of the adaptogens that's very nursing friendly. So I really love that. Vicky says there's no help with doctors. Unfortunately, that is the case that many times, and I've been like you guys, I've been fielding trolls left and right, but people are saying like, oh, there's no such thing as adrenal fatigue. And, you know, they're partially right. The person that coined the term initially, they thought it was a mild version of Addison's, which isn't the case for most people. What's actually happening is there's a dysfunction between the connection between the brain and the adrenal glands. So when we're stuck and having stress for a long time, the body doesn't produce the right amount of stress hormones. And so this is known as hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis dysfunction. This is very real. It's been documented in the research and the science. Unfortunately, most doctors don't know about it. It's not a disease per se, right? It's kind of a very predictable way that the body responds when it's stressed. So, so this is something that I feel like a lot of times people say adrenal fatigue doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. But I'm like, for everybody with the symptoms, it does absolutely exist. And it's a very predictable path to get there. Hint, hint, stress. And there's also a very predictable way to get out of it. And I really focus on safety signals to help people get out of that. Hello, Teresa. Hello, Natasha. Suzanne says, congrats on the new book. Chris says, brain fog, insomnia, brain fog, insomnia, libido, sleep, a lot of sleep, libido. And Vicky, thank you so much for letting me know that you're enjoying getting my emails. I so appreciate that. I had not been emailing some of the people that were signed up to be a part of my community. If you want to get on my email list and get my helpful articles every week, you can go to ABC, or you can comment with ABC, and then I'll be able to send you a link to my ABCs of Adrenal guide. Okay, people here are saying fatigue, sleep issues, brain fog. Fatigue, brain fog. Let's see, does balancing hormones help to reverse Hashimoto's? So definitely estrogen dominance can be a trigger for Hashimoto's, and then adrenal dysfunction can be. So some people, they do find that their thyroid function improves when they do get these in balance. See what other questions we have. Out of control weight gain, functional medicine. Line says the book is so good. I'm so glad that you got your copy, Happy Dance. I have been told the same, and the newest one is that even though I don't have Hashimoto's per my blood work, the endocrinologist informed me that I'd eventually develop Hashimoto's. Please help me. This is why I do the work that I do, because people have so many symptoms and people feel so overwhelmed. They go to their doctors for help and they're not educated properly. And, you know, there's so much we can do to take charge of our own health, and sometimes before quote unquote disease develops, right? Okay, let's see here. Libido, brain fog, fatigue, libido, sleep issues, brain fog. Can low carb be a cause of low morning cortisol? Sometimes it can be for some people. Some people do have issues with low carb eating, with fasting, with exercise issues, and even with socializing. And all of these can be a sign that your adrenals may need some extra love and support. I know many of us in the health and wellness community, we care about our health. Like, we're always trying to do the right things. We're always trying to work on being more healthy. And we might hear of things like, build community, spend time with friends, you'll feel so much better. But then you have to rest for 3 days after spending time with friends. Or people will say, you should exercise more, that'll give you more energy. And then you're like, I'm exhausted and I have to rest after I exercise. Or you might hear like, you should try fasting, or you should try low carb or keto. And then you try it and you feel worse. You wake up in the middle of the night. The reason for that is actually adrenal dysfunction for many people, as well as mitochondrial dysfunction. I do cover both adrenal transformation. In adrenal transformation protocol, I do cover adrenal support as well as mitochondrial support. You may have noticed that the abbreviation is adrenal transformation protocol is ATP. That is stands for energy, and it is how our mitochondria produce energy. So if you wanted to get a copy of the book, I'm going to let you know it's available now in Barnes & Noble and Amazon and wherever books are sold. And I've set up a special keyword. So if you wanted to get a link to it sent to your IMs or DMs, then you can comment with ATP, and then I'll be able to automatically send you a link if the tech is working. So, okay, great. So you guys are commenting with ABC, great. So you'll be able to get some of my emails. Please make sure you comment with that. Michelle said, I've been dealing with low blood pressure and went to 2 doctors and an ARNP. I was told that I'm normal. $377 later. I read your article and thank you for sharing. I am so glad to hear that. Low blood pressure can actually be a symptom of adrenal dysfunction. And when your blood pressure is low, guess what? You're going to be tired. You're not going to have the energy to go about your day. So part of what I recommend in the adrenal protocol is actually utilizing healthy levels of sea salt to help you improve your blood pressure. And some of us actually have low blood pressure because of a thiamine deficiency, and 600 milligrams of benfotiamine can help people overcome thyroid fatigue, which I think is quite impressive because it happens in just 3 days. I'm getting so many great questions here today. I'm going to take a sip of water because I'm about to do a reading. Keep letting me know your questions. And if you have the share icon, if you think this video, if you feel anybody's stuck with brain fog, fatigue, overwhelm, feeling wired but tired, insomnia, and sleep issues, and you think they could benefit from this information, please share this with them or share this to your timeline while I get some water. Moses said, I got it from Amazon, delivered yesterday. Hooray, I hope it helps on your healing journey. So I am reading from my new book, The Adrenal Transformation Protocol. This is available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. If you comment with ATP, I could send you a link. Your symptoms are real and reversible. What was going on in your life before you got sick? This is a question I like to ask my functional medicine clients to help them determine the root cause of their current symptoms and to help them develop an effective plan. Functional medicine is a patient-centered approach to healing focused on addressing the root causes of disease, not just the symptoms. For many of them, the answer is I was going through a tremendous amount of stress. Whether it's the stress of everyday modern life, the positive stress that is celebrated like going to graduate school, starting a new business, or having a brand new delicious baby, or the type of stress that is grieved, like divorce, a death in the family, or being a victim of a crime, Stress can stay with us and cause or exacerbate illness. They say that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but based on what I have seen with my clients, a more accurate statement for many of us may be, what doesn't kill you can stay in your body and overwhelm your stress response, leading to a whole host of chronic stress symptoms that weigh us down. If you're reading this book, there's a good chance that you're not feeling like the best version of yourself. Perhaps you struggle with fatigue or unrefreshing sleep. Maybe you have trouble remembering everyday things and live in a sea of brain fog. Perhaps you find yourself more moody than you would like to be, or you become easily overwhelmed with day-to-day life. You may struggle with your weight, insomnia, hormonal imbalances, chronic pain, and perhaps even your libido. Yet if you're anything like me or the thousands of people I have supported over the last decade, conventional medicine has offered you very little hope. You may have heard that these symptoms are normal or just in your head, but let me clarify, they are not normal. They are common. Just because they're common, it does not mean that they are normal or that you are stuck with them. I also want to assure you that you're not crazy. The symptoms are not just in your head, and you've come to the right place. I'm here to take your hand and help you out of the sea of overwhelm, to help you shed all that isn't you so that you could shine your brilliant light. And this is always my goal, is to help you uncover the real you that is underneath all of these symptoms. The constellation of frustrating symptoms I have described, that includes feeling tired during the day, but tired and wired at night, anxiety, insomnia, unrefreshing sleep, mood swings, poor memory, decreased sex drive, cravings for sweets, pain, brain fog, burnout, overwhelm, and exhaustion are typical of a syndrome that is very well known to alternative medicine practitioners and commonly known as adrenal fatigue. According to alternative medicine theories, these symptoms develop as a result of chronic stress, and the answer lies in supporting the adrenal glands, which are small hormone-producing glands that live on top of our kidneys and release our stress hormones. I turned to the world of alternative medicine and adrenal fatigue in 2009. I was a young pharmacist who had struggled for almost a decade with many frustrating symptoms that were not resolved with conventional treatments. When my integrative doctor first suggested that I get tested for adrenal fatigue, I Googled the term and found a reputable source that said adrenal fatigue was a made-up disorder and did not exist. How many of you guys have heard that? Like, I feel like I have so much work to do, and you guys have so much work to do just to try to raise the awareness about adrenal dysfunction, adrenal fatigue. 10 years ago, I came out with my Facebook page and I started posting about the gluten-free diet, how it changed my life, how it was so helpful for Hashimoto's, and the benefits that I saw in my clients. And the names I was called, you guys, like I just would be like, you know, and at the time I was working, you know, in public health, and it was hard coming online and actually talking about how the gluten-free diet can work, even if you don't have celiac disease. So I feel like 10 years ago, I started talking about adrenal dysfunction as well. And the conversation is still not where it needs to be. People still don't get the help that they need. I know that there's a recent term that many of you have probably heard that may kind of describe what a lot of us have gone through on our healing journeys, known as medical gaslighting, where you go to your doctor, you try to get help, right? Or, it could be from a doctor, it could be from a friend or a random person on the internet, where you'll say like, hey, I think I have this issue going on with my body. And they're like, no, you're just tired. Everybody's tired. You're a new mom, or you're just getting older. Everybody's, kind of the same kind of thing, where our we know our bodies, we live in our bodies every single day. We can tell when something is off. And when people tell you that it's like all in your head or it's not real, I mean, it just really irks me. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this. So, I mean, for everybody that has adrenal dysfunction, like, I just want you to know that this is real. And there are studies that support this. Hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis dysfunction is like the the medical term for it. A few years ago, people were saying leaky gut doesn't exist. And now it's like, oh, but intestinal permeability has so much research, same thing with, HPA axis dysfunction and adrenal dysfunction. So, I'm really here for you. I really want you to know that it's not normal to feel this way and that you can absolutely feel better. Okay. So my soapbox, I'm off of my soapbox now. I'll keep reading. Being a skeptical pharmacist who was taught that natural remedies did not work, I put off testing my adrenals. I had just ventured into the world of alternative medicine. I was always afraid of people trying to take advantage of me and take my money, not realizing that while there are always ill-intentioned people in the world, for the most part, the practitioners I was seeing were simply trying to help. I brushed off their advice thinking that I knew better. After all, I had a doctorate degree, right? And was taught that alternative medicine did not work. And I know some of you probably are going to your practitioners and you're kind of hearing the same thing. Yet despite all of my years of studying health, I was walking around exhausted, irritable, and easily startled with frequent panic attacks and even showed signs of premature ovarian failure in my 20s. I would have crazy blood sugar swings that left me feeling faint and lightheaded, as well as blood pressure that was so low, my doctor often wondered how I was able to walk around. Eventually, I got to the point where I became desperate, and despite my previously tightly held convictions, boy, was I in for a huge surprise. Upon testing my adrenals with an adrenal saliva test, I learned that I did indeed have adrenal fatigue, and lo and behold, the recommended treatments helped me feel so much better. My anxiety virtually disappeared, and I have not had a panic attack in over a decade. So, guys, I would have panic attacks. My husband would go jogging, and he would not be back in like 10, 15 minutes, and I would be on the floor crying in the bathroom, like calling hospitals, thinking that something happened to him. And he was like training for a marathon. So as you can imagine, this was like a constant thing. And I used to have them at random times, very inconvenient times. Haven't had one decade since I got my thyroid and adrenals in balance. Where was I here? Okay. My other symptoms of fatigue, irritability, brain fog, and low blood pressure continued to improve until they were a distant memory as well. So I don't have brain fog anymore. My brain works. I'm not irritable. I'm a very pleasant person. Turns out I'm not like high strung. I'm actually very calm and relaxed. People oftentimes ask me like, how are you so like calm all the time? And, this is part of getting my adrenals in balance. I will like to say this. We now know that the term adrenal fatigue is not a physiologically accurate way to describe the cause between this common symptom cluster. The more precise term is hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis dysfunction, or, my preference, impaired stress response. But the constellation of symptoms does exist, and there are solid treatments that can help. I'll get into the details of the causes of adrenal dysfunction and controversies over correct terminology in later chapters, but for simplicity's sake, I will be using the widely accepted term adrenal dysfunction to describe this group of symptoms. So I'm going to go through some questions. We're going to read more, and then thank you guys, Renee, Suzanne, Becky. If you comment, thank you guys. If you comment with ATP, I'll be able to send you a link to order the book. It's available now on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. One of the things that I've done with my previous books, and I'm trying to do with this book as well, is to get it translated into other languages. Part of that is making sure that the book has a big debut. So if you order it on Amazon today, you'll be helping to get more foreign translations for the book. And I'm hoping to get this book translated into Polish, into German, into Spanish, Italian, and so that people all over the world can get this information too. Do you have adrenal dysfunction? Symptoms of poor adrenal function may include the following: feeling overwhelmed, feeling tired despite adequate sleep, trouble falling asleep or trouble staying asleep, difficulty getting up in the morning, dependency on caffeine, cravings for salty foods. I just ate a whole bag of chips syndrome, cravings for sweet foods, increased effort required for everyday activities, intolerance to exercise, low blood pressure, feeling faint, dizzy when getting up quickly, feeling easily startled, mental fog or trouble concentrating, alternating diarrhea, constipation, low blood sugar, often presenting as feeling angry when hungry, or as I like to call it, hangry, decreased sex drive, decreased ability to handle stress. Sometimes this feels like overwhelm, long time, mild depression, less enjoyment in life, feeling worse after skipping meals, increased PMS, reduced ability to make decisions, reduced productivity, poor memory. These are kind of, I know this is a lot of symptoms, and this is, you don't have to have every symptom to have this. I know somebody had asked earlier, my blood pressure is actually high. It's not low. I have all the other symptoms? Can I still have adrenal dysfunction? Yes, absolutely. And my book is focused on, the term adrenal fatigue is often connected to people that have low cortisol. Adrenal dysfunction could also be you have too much cortisol, or you have enough cortisol, but it's released at the wrong times of day. Been talking a lot. I'm going to take a drink of water. So if you tend to have more of the high blood pressure, you probably have too much cortisol. And my book, The Adrenal Transformation Protocol, this is helpful for people they have high cortisol, if they have cortisol swings throughout the day, and if they have low cortisol throughout the day. The strategies that I focus on are unique from the kind of traditional alternative medicine approach, because they really focus on getting the body back into balance, whether you have too much cortisol or not enough, because the root cause is always stress. So some of the alternative medicine practitioners, their work, and this can work really well if you're working with a practitioner that knows how to do this. Their work focuses on utilizing hormones and herbs and sometimes glandulars that if you don't have enough cortisol in the morning, they'll give you either a hormone or a glandular, so you'll have more cortisol in the morning. If you have too much cortisol at night, they'll give you something to lower your cortisol at night. And I'm not really doing that. Rather, the strategies that I utilize, and I developed them out of desperation when I was a nursing mom, they really focus on shifting your body in an adaptogenic process. So you have too much cortisol, we're going to normalize it. You have too little cortisol, we're going to normalize it. And I would say like 98% of the strategies, it doesn't matter if you have high or low cortisol, you're going to benefit from. And I also have a section in there that talks about, do you have high cortisol? Do you have low cortisol? And what are some of the herbs and considerations, optional considerations to think about depending on what your pattern is like. Teresa, my hands and feet get extremely cold, and even the tip of my nose. This actually can be an adrenal response. So sometimes this can be affected when we have low blood pressure, so our circulation is off. I learned about that. I thought it was like a blood pressure. I thought it was like a thyroid issue, because typically you hear about people being hypothyroid and cold. But then I noticed it happened when I was stressed out. This was when I was on my healing journey 10 plus years ago. And so this can actually be because of the low blood pressure, which then means we're not getting as great of circulation. Teresa says, I'm a nurse and every job I have ever worked with is high stress. So absolutely, you can be very stressed out in a job like that. Thank you for your service. Thank you for the wonderful work that you've done. Job stress can be a very relevant cause of adrenal dysfunction. What tests do I need to ask my doctor to do, check my adrenals? So generally for adrenal dysfunction, if you go to a conventional doctor, they will not do the tests for that. You would need to work with an integrative practitioner, and it would be an adrenal saliva test. My book really focuses on tuning into your symptoms and understanding the signals your body is sending you, so that you can actually feel better without having to, dish out hundreds of dollars on testing. Anna said exactly, medical gaslighting. Vicky says there's a gluten-free market out there that's bad as gluten. So I will say that. Thank you so much for pointing that out. One rookie mistake that I made early on my healing journey is I thought I just needed to. Okay, I was kind of on a junk food diet, and I heard I should go gluten-free, and so I went on a gluten-free junk food diet. So I was eating like rice cereal with rice milk for breakfast. And I was eating pretzels and gluten-free pretzels, gluten-free cookies. That was my food throughout the day. And some things got better. So my acid reflux and IBS got better once the gluten was out of my system. But my anxiety got so much worse because of all that high sugar. So a lot of gluten-free foods, some of them are based in corn, like the, I guess apples are gluten-free. So that's not what I'm talking about, but like the gluten substitutes of like the gluten-free pasta and gluten-free bread, a lot of them can really cause issues with our blood sugar. Susanna says, I've been gluten-free for over 2 years and I feel so much better in my gut and skin. Donna says, I've been struggling with symptoms for years. Doctors have misdiagnosed. Let's see here. Blood tests. I have low cortisol levels. I have extreme anxiety with micromanaging supervisors. Yes, absolutely. When you have low cortisol, people just tend to really overwhelm you. So like somebody can ask you to, it's like your husband's like, hey, honey, can you pick up groceries right now? And you're like, that's too much for me. That's just too much. So this is a very real symptom where when we have really healthy adrenal response and healthy cortisol reserves, like people might still be annoying in our lives and frustrating, but they don't affect us as much, right? So stress can kind of just bounce off of us. Does vitamin B1 help with brain fog? It does. Out of control weight gain, even though I work out 4 days a week in a healthy diet. Let's see. What brand lipstick are you wearing? I am wearing Bare Minerals. There's something called EWG that I want you guys to check out, and make sure you run your makeup through that to see if you have any it gives you like a score of how toxic and not toxic your products are. When somebody wakes up jittery, like tremor, is that adrenal related? Actually, jitteriness could be adrenal related for sure. It could be other things as well, but jitteriness is a very common symptom. Low carb diet to get rid of candida, but also having hypothyroidism. I will say low carb can be very, very helpful for a lot of people. The program I talk about is kind of lower carb, but you want to do it right. So you do protein, you do more protein and you do more fat. And then you have to really adjust your carb tolerance. Some people, when they have adrenal issues, adrenal dysfunction, they actually benefit from having carbs at night. It helps them sleep. I have had some people with adrenal dysfunction and mitochondrial issues where they will have trouble when they go, like when their carbs get too low and they'll start waking up a lot throughout the night. Part of this could be related to candida, right? And blood sugar issues in our body, mold exposure, and then carnitine deficiency. I do talk about carnitine deficiency, and I utilize carnitine as well as Saccharomyces boulardii throughout the program to suppress candida naturally and to help with help people with improving their mitochondrial function so that they could sleep better at night and that they can benefit from fasting and exercise. Donna says, thank you. Congratulations on your new book. Thank you so much. Okie dokie. See a lot of people joining here. And I'm going to be, Angela just got the book today. Very helpful to learn some additional tools. Book ordered, says Renee. I'm so glad. ATP. Pat says your book came yesterday, so hopefully it's helpful on your healing journey. Received the book yesterday, said Julia. Thank you for all you do. It's my pleasure. Sean says they did an adrenal test, though it was normal. So I just would be caution with that. So first of all, like what kind of adrenal test was it? And then what lab did it? Because I will say, I used to work with a lab called BioHealth Lab, and they have since gone out of business. But when I first started working with them, I could look at the lab and I could describe to a person exactly how they were feeling. And they're like, yep, I have trouble waking up in the morning. Based on the lab results, they match so well with people's symptoms. But after a while, because of, I don't know if what kind of certification, they started adjusting their reference ranges. So people were coming up with like quote unquote normal adrenal function, where they were struggling physically and they had a lot of symptoms. And I like kind of was like, what is going on? And then I noticed that they changed their reference ranges because a lot of the people that were sending in labs actually had adrenal issues. So they adjusted their reference ranges, and that test no longer was accurate based on those reference ranges. So I actually still, when I do adrenal testing, I use my own reference ranges with people just to make sure. And also part of the reason why I really focus on people's symptoms these days. Sean, docs say I have POTS. Adrenal issues and POTS, I feel like they do go hand in hand. A lot of the symptoms tend to overlap. So I will say a lot of the strategies in the ATP book can, like orthostatic hypotension is actually an adrenal symptom. So I do encourage you to check out the Adrenal Transformation Protocol book and see how you feel with it, because a lot of the symptoms tend to overlap. Jeanette, recently completed your spring liver reset. Best money I spent. Looking forward to your adrenal program. Thank you for your bravery in the midst of an ignorant medical community. Thank you so much for the feedback and kind words. I released the Adrenal Transformation Protocol as a program. It's been out 7 times in the last 3 years. And so we've had 3,500 people go through the program. And it has had such phenomenal results, with 92% of people having less brain fog, 80% of people plus having less fatigue, better libido, better sleep, just a lot of symptoms vanishing. That I wanted to put it in a book. So this book is actually based on my adrenal transformation program. And I have a lot of to, I kind of scroll. Okay, looks like we are reconnecting. We are reconnecting here. So I'm going to go through the advanced stress symptoms. So you guys, for my book, it's divided into 3 parts. The first part has a lot of information on how to understand your body and has assessments. The second part of the book has a very specific protocol that you could follow. When I came out with my first book 10 years ago, I kind of shared all the research with people, and I was able to like choose their own supplements and kind of do their own thing. I don't want to be like coming across biased. And then people were like, can you give a call? So my second book was Hashimoto's protocol, and it was like very specific instructions. And so the Adrenal Transformation Protocol is very specific instructions. It's got like a 4-week plan, very specific plan that you can utilize throughout that. And so that's the second part of the book. It's that 4-week plan that helps more than 80% of people feel better once they follow that. The third part of the book is advanced stress symptom strategy. So in addition to having like recipes, I also have like for the people, like the 80% of the people do feel better. But if you're in that 10 to 20% that doesn't feel better with utilizing the strategies in the 4-week plan, I have some advanced things for you to look into. So these are going to be things that perhaps you can do for deeper work, you know, taking more supplements. Like I've tried to be a minimalist with supplements in the Adrenal Transformation Protocol program for the 4-week plan, so that you're able taking thousands of supplements every day, but sometimes you might have to do additional testing and supplements. So I don't have you do blood tests. I don't have you do all kinds of testing and, a lot of stuff. I just try to keep it very approachable because I know one of the symptoms of adrenal dysfunction is overwhelm. Another symptom is caffeine addiction and dependency. So I don't have you quit coffee either. I don't have you quit your caffeine. We actually work on building your energy levels first. And then once you're more energized, then a lot of people do find that they're not as dependent on the caffeine. So I'll share a story. Adjusting my diet and adding the supplements have given my body a new strength. I feel more energized and now sleeps deeply and for longer. This means I wake refreshed and able to get out of bed with energy that was previously so elusive to me. So this is from people utilizing some of the energizing strategies. After a few weeks of following these lifestyle interventions, I began to feel more energized and productive throughout the day. My afternoon slump improved and I had more mental clarity. This program is life-changing. Positive thinking, forgiveness, supplements, so many things helped me overall. And then my family felt my change, personality changed. I'm so thankful. You have changed our lives. Much love. That's from Sherry. Beth, I have felt more joy, hope, and feelings like I could take on more in the world. It's been exciting to feel so good. My anxiety has pretty much all but gone away. Mindfulness, yoga, and meditation have helped me a lot to reduce tension. Exercise, stay strong, and center myself. My cravings for salty and sugary foods are gone. So I know sometimes, with candida, you have to not eat so much sugary foods. And when you have adrenal dysfunction, you tend to crave them. And so addressing that adrenal dysfunction can help. The ATP is filled with an abundance of ways and means to combat adrenal issues. It not only provides help with choosing healing foods, supplements, and proper exercises, it also offers powerful support systems designed to uncover, address, and help heal my mental and emotional trauma that contributed to adrenal problems and may interfere with continuing the recovery. So those of you just joining, I'm doing a bit of a reading from my book, Adrenal Transformation Protocol. This is a guide that is out right now for you guys. If you comment with ATP, you'll be able to get a link to it so you can order it. It's a 4-week plan to release stress symptoms and go from surviving to thriving. So brain fog, fatigue, insomnia, sleep issues, all of these things, if you're struggling with them, there's a good chance you have adrenal dysfunction. And so I have a few more minutes before I jump off. So I'm going to do a reading for what to do. I'm going to do a quick scan just so you know what is in here for brain fog and fatigue. I've combined these two symptoms because they share the same causes and solutions. You may have one or both symptoms. In my case, I started with fatigue and that progressed into brain fog. Brain fog was one of the most personally devastating symptoms that I had experienced due to adrenal and thyroid issues. As a person who has always excelled academically, I'd always prided myself on my brain to recall important and sometimes completely obscure facts and details from experiences years earlier. Fatigue was the second most devastating symptom, as it prevented me from achieving all the things I wanted to achieve. Many of the interventions we've been working on throughout the Adrenal Transformation Protocol may help reduce brain fog and fatigue. So this is what's in the book that's going to be helpful in the 4-week protocol. Balancing blood sugar, eliminating inflammatory foods, utilizing supplements to support mitochondrial function, such as magnesium, carnitine, Saccharomyces boulardii, electrolytes with D-ribose, and adrenal adaptogens. Additional ways to go deeper in the program to support brain fog and fatigue include additional blood sugar support. Doing targeted food sensitivity testing can help you uncover the unique food triggers driving inflammation, often at the root of cloudy thinking and low energy. I have the Olitest test I recommend for that. Drinking too much caffeine can create a vicious cycle of unrestful sleep followed by fatigue, especially if you do it too late in the day, right? If you're currently drinking coffee, cacao, soda, green tea, black tea, you may wish to remove or reduce your intake of caffeine or move it to earlier in the day. Deficiency of B vitamins can contribute to a range of adrenal symptoms. And I share some standalone B vitamins that can be incredibly game-changing, such as benfotiamine, which is B1, 600 milligrams of that, as well as the active version of B6, which is P5P. And I'm not just somebody that doesn't have any stress in my life. So I am still recovering. I think I mentioned the week before our book launch, my son brought down some germs and that he shared. So he has made a full recovery. I still have a little bit of a tickle in my throat, especially when I do a lot of talking. Thyroid, other potential root causes of brain fog and fatigue, thyroid hormone imbalance, copper toxicity, environmental toxins, gut imbalance infections, and I talk more about all of these in the book. Iron toxicity overload, low stomach acid and digestive enzymes, mitochondrial dysfunction, and I recommend doing an organic acid test for more deeper protocols, mold exposure, nutrient deficiencies such as riboflavin, thiamine, folate, iron, and B12, as well as vitamin D can be a root of brain fog and fatigue, reactivated Epstein-Barr virus. And then I share a summary of lab tests to consider for brain fog and fatigue, such as a comprehensive stool analysis, copper toxicity, food sensitivity, full thyroid panel, organic acid, foundational nutrient panel, environmental toxins panel, mold mycotoxins, reactivated Epstein-Barr, and SIBO breath tests. I also have information like on all the lab tests and how to self-order if that's what you guys choose to do. But I will say more than 80% of people do recover for brain fog and fatigue with using just the 4-week plan, and they don't have to do all of this. Interventions to consider for brain fog and fatigue: reduce exposure to toxins, address sleep deprivation, mitochondrial and sleep support, such as coenzyme Q10, copper, fulvic acid, manganese, and acetylcysteine, omega-3 fatty acids, selenium, vitamin D3, vitamin E, and zinc can be helpful with energy production and function. Neurotransmitters, such as dopamine-boosting amino acid L-tyrosine and vitamin B6. Nootropics, I love benfotiamine, glycine, lion's mane, L-tyrosine, omega-3 fatty acids, and trimethylglycine for brain fog. And I do have a section in the book that has a chart with all of these that has the names of all of them. It would be boring for me to read. And that also contains the doses as well as the brands I recommend. So I hope that you do find the Adrenal Transformation Protocol book helpful on your healing journey. I want you to know that you can absolutely feel better even if you've been exhausted and brain fogged and fatigued and having trouble sleeping for many, many years. This program, this protocol can absolutely work for you. I'm going to be jumping off now. And if you wanted to get a copy of the book, be sure to chat with ATP. If you're watching this in replay, please be sure to comment with your questions, and I'll be back. I'm doing a radio tour tomorrow, which is going to be super fun, but I will be in the morning, and after that, I'll be back to answer some of the questions for you guys. So thank you again for joining. And so tomorrow, you guys, I'll be doing something fun and exclusive on Facebook. Unfortunately, I've had a lot of glitches on Instagram. So it's I wanted to do a special event for my Facebook community. And you can also watch it on YouTube if you're not on Facebook, where you can join in, and I'm going to be doing some giveaways. I will, if you follow me on Facebook, you'll be able to see. Right now, I have the event scheduled at, let me see here. I'm going to check my calendar real quick to make sure I'm not giving you the wrong time, because I have a lot of fun interviews to do tomorrow. So this is going to be something at 4 p.m. Central on April 20th, where I will be doing a special live stream for my Facebook community. If you wanted to get a copy of the book, you can comment with ATP, and then I'll send you a link to it. And hopefully this will be really helpful on your healing journey. Thank you so much for taking the time to join.